Welcome back to the podcast. Kevin here with my super stupid friend, Nick.
Hey, Kevin, thanks for the introduction. As always, really appreciate the niceness of it. I always like that applause when I get in. It's nice that there's people really cheering for us. That always feels good.
I know, it is odd that we have so many people just sitting here waiting for us to do a
As
podcast.
we're sitting here watching football, there's tons of people in our stadium and slash booth here really helping us out. So we appreciate that. It's a kind of a stadium style. Everybody's sitting here. You can't see it from home. Don't worry
Yeah, I
about it.
know. It's actually like a wall of people. It's a bit off-putting at first. It takes a little getting used to, but after that, I
like
kind of
working
really
for-
enjoy it.
Yeah, we look like working for a crowd here. Welcome to Two Dumb Idiots here. We're going to talk about some stuff that we have no idea. We don't really have any facts to back up what we're going to say, but we're going to hash it out as two normal individuals. And
I'm going to be right, and Nick's going to be wrong.
at the end of it, we'll see that Nick's opinions are more sharply crafted and well put together, and Lamb's are a little bit more of like a sledgehammer, kind of bludgeoning you over the head. But we'll see what happens. That's just an opinion
Sledgehammer works.
slash fact.
So we decided for today's topic, we are going to tackle a rather large subject. So this may be the first of many. It's going to be social media.
We like I said, it's a pretty large subject, so we're thinking we'll have a little fun with it today, talk about what we do and don't like about it right now, where it could go, and then maybe in the future here we'll break them down a little bit more in depth here. But for now, we're just gonna start off with some, like I said, at this point for me, I don't know pretty much anybody that doesn't use some form of it, and I think that inevitably for me, it's had a lot of noticeable impacts on just kind of the way people operate, the way people handle social interactions. So I guess jump right into it, Lamb. What do you think of the first part of that stands out to you?
Well, first, it is so prevalent in today's society. It has just, it's integrated into everything. And anything you can go to, web pages, whatever, it has like buttons, it has all the things. You just one click away, Facebook attached, Twitter, whatever the handle might be. Oh, follow me on this, follow me on that. It's so much. And it was something I resisted in my own life
Me too, for sure.
actively
Yeah.
for so long.
I was really long behind Instagram. I was really far behind on Snapchat. The only thing I really had to start for me was Facebook. College, I had a Facebook, I think freshman year of college, maybe I think I had it. And for me, really, I didn't even want it. I think maybe I had a girlfriend or something kind of talk me into doing it. And actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I definitely had a Facebook before that. I think maybe like senior year of high school I had one. I never used it, and then college came around. And I think the only reason I started using it was for parties. I bet that's a story for a lot of people, actually.
It's a little different for me. I'm of a slightly different generation. Well, something seems to keep coming up. Facebook didn't even fully exist for me until after college.
Okay.
So for me, college, it wasn't even an item. It hadn't been created.
Would you say in college when you were there, where did you guys hear about a party in college?
Well, for the most part, it was pre-cell phones for the beginning half of my college career. Cell phones kind of became a thing in my junior and senior year of college. So, for most people, at least.
Okay.
But for the most part, it was a lot of AOL Instant Messenger.
Hey.
That's a throwback
Yeah.
because, and you'd post things up, or we would have some sort of, I was in a fraternity, Sigma Alpha Epsilon, little
Okay.
shout out.
Ooh.
Hey. And we would have our own groups, if you will, of people within the fraternity, and you'd let people know, and those were most of the people I was hanging out with. So you'd let one or two people know, and it would kind of figure itself out.
Yeah, I don't actually. I don't remember before Facebook. Even like I said, even college, when you would send a Facebook request out to everybody for a party, that's how we did parties, And so, obviously, I guess before that I didn't really have parties, so I don't really know a party without a Facebook invite, and that's actually weird to say, but I really don't. Almost since I guess we did some in high school without it, but it was even back then. It was some Facebook, you know what I mean?
None of that existed for me in high school. Instant Messenger wasn't even really that big because not a lot of people had regular internet connections. It was full dial-up. You had to actively go on and log
We
in
only
and
had
stuff like that.
one computer at our house. I have 3 brothers. Well, I mean, at the time we had 4. I had 2 stepbrothers and 2 real brothers, and so we had 5 young people in the house, 2 older people in the house. It's like one computer with dial-up, and it was like, even if I wanted to use AIM, I had to wait in line behind 4 other people. So I never got to do it, and so I know that was kind of a big thing for a lot of people in high school, but I did not really get to AIM much.
I actually got Facebook 3 years ago.
Brand new to the scene.
Yeah, fresh on the scene. I don't think I've actually made an official post yet.
So you're not really on Facebook.
I mean, it exists for me. I have some people that I've friended, I guess, that I've used Facebook Messenger to contact some people and things of that nature.
That's like having a mailbox that's never gotten a piece of mail.
Yeah.
That the mailman has literally never stopped by, which means he doesn't know it exists, which means it doesn't exist.
I'm okay with that, honestly. Like, I like this fact about me. I've wished a few people happy birthday. I feel like that's been my main interaction with Facebook.
That's me to this point now. It's pretty much for me at this point, parties. I mean, not any parties, just family invites and happy birthdays.
Yeah, none of my family really is on Facebook except for, my sister is, but that's about it. We don't contact each other through Facebook, so
I still, for me, like I said, I've thought about a lot of times, and I've actually uninstalled Facebook from my phone many times. And now it's permanently uninstalled, but I still go to the website every now and again, but mostly because older generations on it. My dad's on it, my aunt and uncles are on it, my people from high school are on it. And I don't really care for the most part, but every now and again I like to check in. And having access to, a lot of those people, Facebook's nice because let's say, a few years from now I need to contact one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
Without Facebook, you'd have to go through 9 phone calls to even get close to somebody.
yeah. I will say it's nice. It's like growing up, I don't know if you had this, but we always had this one. It was like kind of beat up and ratty because it had been overused so long, and it was like the family phone number book, and it had all the phone numbers for everybody and their addresses and things like that, and then they'd be crossed out if somebody moved or whatever.
Rolodex almost. Yeah.
And so I feel like Facebook is kind of, for me, becoming that.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
Like it's just like a series of connections I don't want to lose forever,
For
but
sure.
I'm not that interested in.
I just remember for me, I 100% agree. It is like a Rolodex for me now. And I laugh because I was in college and I never posted pictures. I actually used to post statuses. That was like a real thing. And actually, this is way before you. Not only did people post statuses and just say like, hey, Nick's feeling pretty crazy today, whatever. That's how the status used to start. So it would say Nicholas Regano, and then it would just blank. And then you say, how are you feeling today? And you say, like, Nicholas Regano is heading to the party tonight, right? And actually, like, kind of like that. It wasn't like this just wide open. It's almost like you had to say what you were doing, So that kind of changed. And it was interesting. You go in there and kind of see everybody's thoughts, and that was kind of cool at first. And actually, it was intriguing at first, If you went on, you could see, oh, my God, there's the party pictures from this weekend. But long story short, I legitimately... my freshman, sophomore, and junior year of college, my dad would call me a bunch of times and said, hey, how's college going? I'm like, pretty good. He's like, Nick, your Aunt Marie keeps telling me that she's seeing you guys drinking on Facebook. He was like, I know it's college. I don't really give a damn. Can you just stop posting pictures of it? I was like, Dad, I'm not posting pictures. You don't understand how this thing works. Like somebody else.
Anyone's putting up these pictures.
And then I tagged them. It's chaos, So, but that was my first, speaking of social media, that was my first real interaction with like how powerful in a positive and negative way it could be, because now it's like, and I tried to explain this to my Aunt Marie later in life. I said, it's college. I don't take pictures of me studying, right? Like, there's no pictures of me, right? Like at the rec center.
We'll get into that whole,
it's only me drinking, right? Like,
the focus of what social media has become.
But in that
agree.
In that era, it was only me drinking. So, I'm only partying. So, that's really the only pictures I had. That was the only time we took pictures. Yeah. So it seemed like 6 out of 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, I was just burying cheap vodka and rum. But that's not really the case.
I thank God every day that social media was not a thing, and cell phone cameras were also not a thing when I went to college.
See, I also thankful
the
as
volume
well.
of
embarrassing nonsense.
I wouldn't even beyond embarrassing, like debauchery that occurred.
But this is funny, and this is funny to me to say, and I mean this. At that point, people didn't take a billion pictures at a party. So when we would get home and you'd say, "Oh, we had a few," and people had a few pictures, but it wasn't like selfies. It wasn't
Yeah.
really like that. That's
well,
hard to
I
explain, but it wasn't.
Yeah, there was like digital cameras and people had to like plug them
Yes,
in
right,
and like
upload them.
make the more steps between the photo
Yeah.
and getting it to the Facebook
Which
creates, I feel like,
also the fact that
Some
not
meaning.
everybody had one created this limitability of like it wasn't like a cell phone. No matter what raunchy event was taking place, you could just pull it. It was like somebody had to go get a camera. So a lot of like crazy events were missed and scooted over. You really had to have a camera ready on hand for some nonsense to go down. And I think, like you said, I never really had any embarrassing pictures go up for that reason because
yeah, I couldn't imagine
you could
going
see a
to
camera
college these
coming-
days.
Yeah, I agree.
Like it just, oh my God.
it would be.
And it's like, we'll talk about this, I think, a little more later, but you take pictures of the things you enjoy
Yeah,
or the things that bring you joy. And in college,
that's it.
that was getting drunk or doing whatever
Yeah.
or making dumb choices
Yeah,
and
that's it.
parties or all of these things.
Yeah, I mean that's literally the entire. To me, it was like almost. I don't want to say the entire point of college for a lot of people, but it was a pretty. It was a if everybody got a major in college, and pretty much everybody I had at least had a minor in partying. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you go to college to learn what you're supposed to learn, but it's the first time in your life you have a lot of not school time.
Yeah,
Where you get to choose what to do with that.
correct.
And I feel like most people chose to do the wildest things they could.
Yeah.
Because you're not supervised.
Yeah, I was without going too far off.
I
social
remember
media,
like
I
the
was thinking,
second night of college was when it like set into me that there was no one checking on me.
Yeah.
There was no one getting me up in the morning. There was nobody like
Everything
making
was
sure I
free.
did things or whatever.
and I think for some people that are tightly wound, or I mean tightly kept in, you go to college and they just explode. But back to social media and that stuff. I guess for me that was the introduction for me to Facebook and social media in general. For me, I think the positive aspect, and I kind of want to do this maybe with a couple of topics, but I think the positive of that back then was it was actually at that point a very social thing, and it actually, instead of ostracizing people, brought people together. I thought it was something that you helped you interact and get to know people a little bit, and sometimes people were shy, so Facebook was a way of still having some form of expression after like MySpace and things like that, and I thought it was actually a good thing. The negative of it back then was, still to this very day, was it was pretty unfiltered. So there was a lot of stuff people would put on there that were really almost way more personal than people would share now. People didn't quite understand how public it was. So people were using profanity, and I don't want to be this, but like people were using racial slurs because back then it wasn't that big of a deal, and the F word, the FAG word, that kind of stuff. And people were using these words all through Facebook because it wasn't really a big deal, because it wasn't like, one, these words were for some reason seemed deemed a little bit more socially acceptable 15 years ago. Even that's not the case, but they seemed that way. Also, it was like I said, people didn't think it was like a permanent substance. You knew you could delete it, so nobody really cared what they posted on it.
Yeah,
you know?
people
It
like
was much more unfiltered, you know?
like treated it. I felt like you treat like gossip with your friend.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
I'm gonna tell you this thing that's inappropriate. That's whatever. I'm gonna show you this.
It
But
was
then,
like,
but
it-
then no one else is gonna know about it. But they like the internet hadn't really struck them as forever.
I'm telling you, it was like an actual thing to be like drunk Facebooking. I'm not kidding you. Like now it's drunk texting, but like when I was in college, people would say, "Oh my God, dude, he must have been drunk Facebooking. See all the stuff he posted last night," because people didn't think it was a big deal to post a bunch of crap about themselves or arguments with their ex-girlfriends or tell people how drunk they were or say something wildly inappropriate. Or I mean, it was like a common thing. You'd steal somebody's phone and post for them and be funny. So it was like really, really like personal back then. And nowadays it's more of this. It is actually, you feel like a separation from it, it's people step back from it a little bit.
I think like the term social media is where it started. It was a social aspect. It was supposed to be
Your close friends,
that, and just you were supposed to socialize, but on the internet.
and it was that.
It was supposed to be friendly and this and that.
If you go back
it
and look at
doesn't-
if you go back and look at pictures from like my college years and right after college years, people posted pictures and there was like really like, I don't want to say thoughtful, but engaging conversation in the comments. People were, "Oh my goodness, this was so much fun. We got to do this again." It was like good quality stuff. Nowadays, everybody's trying to outwit each other and throw a jab and be clever, and so there's not really as much like
Reposting other people's stuff.
yeah,
and it's
there's gifs and memes and all that stuff posted, and so it's a little bit less. Like I said, it's a little bit less real. But back then, like I said, when you posted something, people commented on it, liked it. People really, if it was like it was more personal and it was more. But actually, let's touch on real quick. I mean, 'cause we did positive on negative on that. The like situation,
Yeah,
because I
like
think
that's
that's
what-
like almost changed. I mean, 15 years ago, the word likes wasn't a thing, right? Like it's been invented, but now, I mean, almost it's in my opinion, it's become how a lot of people judge who they are and what they mean to this world, and I think that's going to be
I
very
feel
scary.
like people are chasing this weird validation through how many likes they get for something.
And I mean, it's not even. I mean, 5 years ago, I could have said it's weird. Today, it's like somebody could literally spin that on me and say, yeah, but the more likes I get, I can actually make money on it. So it's hard for me to sit there and say you're crazy. But I also find that people do tend to absorb it too much. They either, if it's and that's, I think, the kind of the double-edged sword of a like is like, if you're a girl and you post a picture and you get 65 likes, and you have 400 friends, you're like pretty happy. If you're a girl and then you see your friend though, and she has 600 friends, and she posts a picture and she gets 200 likes, in your head, these guy or girl, your instinct is person must be more attractive than I am, right? And I think that person must be more liked, must be more
Yeah,
interesting.
people like her better.
Right, which is like everybody's worst fear in those age groups is that they're not attractive or they're not liked or they're not important. And then this is almost like some form of sick validation all the time, one way or the other. So if you're popular and you think you're important, then you're just dumped on that you're important. If you're not popular, you feel it twice as hard. You know,
I feel like it's literally every single picture you post is a mini popularity contest.
Yeah, for sure.
And that you're getting literally either positive or negative reinforcement of what you think. Like, people make their living getting likes.
For sure.
And if they don't get enough likes, then that, like, can affect their money. It can affect their, obviously, their self interest and
self-image.
Yeah, self-image, all that stuff. And it's insane to me.
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
it's just insane.
I mean,
to
honestly, and now I don't know what's going to happen, but a lot of these sites are toying with the ideas of getting rid of the likes, and I think it's a good direction.
Instagram has, I think they'll let the person who posted it in certain aspects see the likes.
Okay.
But no one else can see the likes.
I don't know if that's updated or not. Is that new?
I think that's in certain markets or countries or something like that. They're testing this out.
Okay, because I think people, still has likes on my stuff right now, but I think that's the good direction to go, to be honest, because in my opinion, I think you could get back to stuff, right? Like you could get back to because honestly, I don't mean to be that guy, but I look at likes. It's hard not to look at likes, even anything I click on. If I look at like Reddit, Reddit essentially grades everything by who clicked more likes on it. So I base what I think is going to be interesting based on the fact that 60,000 other people thought this was interesting, and the thing below it only 2,000 did. I said, well, this must be more interesting, even though it's actually sometimes for me not. It's a cat pawing at a mouse, and I can give a shit. But the next one is like an interesting science article, and nobody cares. And I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of interesting, right? So,
well, we know you're rather dumb, so it definitely wasn't a science article that you were liking better. But it's definitely the cat. But I appreciate your effort to make it sound like you're smarter.
The second one.
Yeah, exactly. To connect the dots. But
it was a pretty coloring book though. So
like for me, I wish Instagram would somehow grade my likes, because I don't like hardly anything. Maybe I'm a jerk for it, but I rarely click the like button on anything. Yeah, so I feel like I would like it for them to know that the likes if I do give one out.
So now you want your likes to be more important?
No, just like there should be like maybe a colorized system. Like this guy just clicks like for everything in his feed.
Okay, so you're saying like
this guy's like a 10%er. Like he only 10% of the photos he looks at.
That's kind of like Reddit. They have like the gold you can give for like a really top comment. Somebody give you gold, and I'm not even sure how it works, but yeah, you can every now and again for a comment that's beautiful. People are like, all right, you got a little extra credit for that one. But I just think in general, if I clicked on Instagram and you publicly couldn't see the likes, right? Mm-hmm. But I could just click on somebody's and say, I want to like it, and that person could see that, then you go back to privacy. And then you go back to a point where I know this sounds crazy, and hear me out. You could go back to privacy and living in a world where you don't feel as every ounce of you is exposed. So that way, when you go see your friends tomorrow, people say, I really like that picture you posted, right? And you say, oh my God, you must have had a ton of likes. You say, yeah, I did. That could be the end of that conversation. You don't have to get into it. You don't have to feel the need to be embarrassed by the fact that it got less than somebody else's. You can be just excited at the fact that somebody actually liked it, which in my opinion is the whole point of it anyway, right? And that's what we've lost. We've lost that 100 people thought it was cool. We wanted 120 people to think it's cool. So like almost categorizing and keeping track of how many, you lose the fact that 100 people were impressed by something that you did.
Or even like,
10.
Well, I was even going to say like,
And for you too.
Well, like I was going to say, when one of my friends likes something and I get a like from someone who, outside of my followers,
Right.
which are very few.
Yes.
We're talking single digits here.
Yeah.
But,
sorry, man.
But, yep, that's pretty much my social media presence wrapped up in one sound.
Just one more time, anybody didn't hear it.
Yep.
It's too much.
It hurts because it's true.
All right.
But when someone outside of that follower likes it, like somehow a hashtag finds in their feed or whatever it is,
Yeah.
that is what I love. Like that.
That's cool. I agree. Tony.
To me, then it definitely doesn't feel like an obligatory one.
Yes, I agree. That's what I'm saying. So I think the second they get away from that, you can be happy that certain people noticed. And go back to what you just said. When you do look, it will also matter more who noticed, right? Because now it's just a number. When it disappears, your number won't matter as much. You say, "Hey, Kevin liked this," or somebody important like this for me, and that will mean something to you.
Well, I obviously am not important to you.
But then, I mean, like I said, when you go back to that friend group again, my scenario there, and you go back to you're talking about this picture you liked, and maybe something like that does matter to somebody. You that's your information. You don't feel the need to share that anymore, and I think that's important. I think that, like I said, it can be good for you to see it, but I think it takes away some of the negative, and I think
Well, that'll get into a whole other podcast I'd love to talk about, and it's just people's ability to, I don't want to say keep a secret, but like keep trust.
yeah.
Like if I don't want to share something, like I feel like nowadays it's almost impossible for me to interact with people without somehow other people knowing about it.
I mean,
and it's not that I don't want them to know about it.
You're gonna get into a whole you're opening a can of worms that I totally agree with you on, but it just
like
can.
I can't just like talk to someone or like something about them without now everyone can see what I like.
Yeah.
So if there's someone I follow or whatever or something pops
That's a
up,
really good point too. I'd never even thought about that. So if I see a pretty picture of a girl and I like it, normally maybe I'll be scared because everybody would notice that I did, but now she can feel appreciated and I don't feel weird for being exposed. It almost helps. You're right. That's really interesting. That actually helps everybody out. Wrong one. I was going for clapping, actually.
yeah, I'm like,
Clap.
I don't know if,
Which one's clapping? We're still
I
working.
appreciate the audience in here really laughing at Nick and really helping him out. And
Yeah. So they wanted to cheer.
that's what they wanted to hear.
I don't care how professional people think this is. It's still Two Dumb Idiots, and we're going to mess up
Well,
some sound effects. And if you're not laughing at that, you're not
Well,
laughing.
if you're listening to the Two Dumb Idiots podcast, there are some things you should definitely expect.
Yeah.
And a lot of them being done.
Yeah, okay. But no, that's a good point. Kind of a veil for yourself almost, which is important.
And it's not like I want it to be secret.
Right, I'm saying it's
But
not, it's not a hidden treasure.
I just don't want to
bury.
have to let everyone know.
I agree. The other thing I was going to say, I couldn't agree more. But on that same token, that we should talk about in another podcast is there is kind of an invasiveness with the social media. I also think because they have introduced almost everything has introduced this, like this person's online, this person's active, right? So now and then it'll say this person was active this amount of minutes ago, right? So it's like now like Facebook does it, Instagram does it for your chats, Snapchat did it. It tells you like when they saw your message. Even for me, like I like to play Xbox.
iPhones do it on. You can be on red.
You can turn You can turn on your Xbox or your video game console. Now you can turn this off so you don't tell people, but essentially always tells your friends as soon as you get online. If they have the app on their phone, it will actually notify them. Nick just got on Xbox. So if I come home at night and I want to turn on my Xbox and watch some Netflix, it tells everybody that I'm friends with. That's what I'm doing. I find that incredibly invasive. So now that's not quite like the social media, but that's another.
I think about like if I want to play video games till 3 a.m, that's my prerogative.
I agree, but it shouldn't be everybody's information.
Yeah, exactly. It shouldn't be up like, oh, I saw you were up late. Like, say you work with somebody.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm
and
saying.
you play video games together. And now they saw that you were up till 3 a.m. playing video games.
And then they're like, "Oh, he's tired today."
And
now,
then-
now
yeah,
they
they're
actually
like-
have a reason to know, and it's kind of like I said. I think
Oh, is that because you were playing video? That's not my business. It's outside of work. Like it
my
just.
life. I want to drive my life into a ditch. That's my business. You know what I mean, seriously. I mean, like legitimately, it's not anybody's business. But another time, we'll branch off to that.
Yeah.
The other one we wanted to speak about with this is, well, I mean, honestly, we did the likes here, but I was thinking, just monetizing things. I mean, I think the likes is linked to that, but. For me, this is coming to a thing where if you're an attractive person, male or female, you can just simply start a page, continue to post pictures that are either, semi nude
Say
or
scandalous,
and essentially garner a bunch of likes, and then, or a bunch of followers, and then it's like, then for some reason your opinion matters more. Now all of a sudden people are posting pictures of food, and they're saying, well, these people are getting paid to post pictures of food or paid to post pictures of and for me it's like, why does their opinion? Why do I care what this person thinks? I'm serious. Like in all honesty. You. I mean, in all honesty, like if people like this, 3 million people follows this person who now is posing in a hat, and it's like, oh, we should buy this because why? I don't even know this person. I don't know anything about this person.
And it's weird, like
it's crazy to me.
Clothing and things like that, inanimate objects. I have no real problem with that at all. These are the leggings that this company asked me to wear. I think they look good. Cool. I'm looking at this thing. It's a physical item. It's when it becomes opinions.
Yeah, for sure.
Or some sort of, thing they're claiming is factual. That's not necessarily being checked. Those are the big things for me.
So, and kind of what you're saying there is the good and the bad. The good is it gives somebody with a cool personality, or maybe with somebody that doesn't have a means to find their way into success, or even make whatever they do public a way to they can actually make money off their uniqueness, which is cool.
Yeah.
But when you draw the line in the sand, and you go to the other side and you say, yeah, but the negative part of it is it gives a lot of people the idea that they're more important because for some reason, they're good looking, and it's like or they've posted a lot of pictures, and it's like look, like maybe you have garnered a lot of followers, but that doesn't mean your opinion on food matters anymore.
Well, that's the thing too. It's like
really,
I think it applies not necessarily even just to appearance, like sports athletes, anyone that's famous because of their skill or whatever. That's great. If you want to talk about that particular topic, if you're a famous football player and you want to say something about football, yeah, you should have the ability to post that and be great and everything like that. But just because you're a famous football player doesn't mean you should have a bigger platform to talk about like politics or about religion or about whatever it is.
And I think it's gotten muddled because people like to say, like, if it's like a very noble cause, an easy one to defend, then all of a sudden people are okay with it. But when it gets to that 50-50 ground, it is kind of a touchy subject because it's like, look, like, you got to be careful. Just more on the consumer side, you just have to say, like, look, like, just because I like this person's sports skills doesn't mean I blend and mesh with them on everything else. That actually takes us into our next one, which for me is, right now with a lot of these social media sites, especially Facebook, they're in kind of the trouble where they post, or they allow people to post pretty much anything. They have some guidelines, nudity and sort of hateful stuff, and even political stuff. They allow most of it. If it's really deemed like dangerous, they will take it down pretty much. But they're not really out fact hunting, Mm-hmm. And I think that's again a whole subject on its own. But what I will say on that is, I feel as if you're going to let people post whatever they want, that's fine. But I think, like a lot of things in this world, you need labels on things, right? Mm-hmm. So if I go to the store and I buy milk, and they deem it as low fat, well, somebody's had to check that and make sure that it's low fat. You can't just say it's low fat and it has 98% fat. Somebody has to be fat free. This has to be low salt or little salt, and those are all those words are categorized. Mm-hmm. For me, if you're going to post something political on an ad, or something at all, really, and it's going to have some information in there that is deemed factually inaccurate, I think it should have some kind of a label on it. It should say, look, some things in this ad are not factually proven. It doesn't even have to say they're wrong. It should just say they're not factually proven. And I think with that, I think at least gives people the pause to look at it and say, this is a really interesting point, but I should probably do my own research.
Yeah, and I fully agree. I feel like, what, you think you had a little hot take on it?
was going to go for the applause again.
You would give yourself some applause.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's pandering to the crowd here, but no, I get it. I feel like
smart guy move, really.
I feel like there should be maybe even levels of that. Like if you're willing to go to a company that can fact check everything you have and get like a check mark next to your ad or whatever it is, a green check mark, cool. And if you want like a yellow check mark, it's like, we don't know.
Yeah.
And if there's like, and then like certain things that get flagged for
And
like
that'd be a good
inaccurate
that would be a
thing
good-
would
that
be, have like a red check mark next to it.
That would be a good way to do it so that you could post whatever you want, but if immediately somebody flags it as factually inaccurate and you want it to be put back up, then you have to, I mean, maybe you have to do something or they have to check it. My only comparison I can draw is I watch every now and again this one platform called Twitch where video gamers can play. There's one video game that I like, so every now and again I click on and watch some of the best players play for a little bit. And what's cool is they can have these emojis and these things that pop up on the screen, and they're animations and they're all sorts of stuff. But in order for them to do that, they have to send them to Twitch, the moderators, and say, "Hey, is this one I want to use okay?" And I'm not saying that's the best idea because I don't think everybody wants to send a picture to Facebook that says, "Is it okay if I post this?" But I do think, like I said, if enough people deem it that there's factually inaccuracies, I think that then there needs to be something posted on, or even if it's maybe immediately after it gets flagged, something goes on the picture and says this has not been factually proven yet, some version of that.
Flagged for checking later or something like that.
Right, exactly.
And then I'm also of the thing, if these are the bigger issue I have is with people who pay for ads to be up. I'm not talking everybody's personal posts. If you're posting your personal opinions, have at it.
Mm-hmm.
Have at it. That's a person's opinion. It's when it's an actual ad that's popping up on people's feeds that are not subscribing to those or following
and
that
saying
person.
Something that's no longer an opinion. If I said I like this candidate and I think they're the best for the job, that's fine. If you say,
But I'm saying if you say that on your personal page, the only people who see that are people who are friends with you.
right,
Ads show up whether it's not like somebody's
forced
ad.
to
Yeah,
digest
it
it,
just it comes to me.
right.
That's the bigger issue I have.
Right. And I think that, like I said, I don't know exactly where. I mean, Facebook's in a really tough spot because it is definitely responsible for almost all misinformation at this point. And, there's starting to be the point where there's two factual worlds where people live in because they say, well, I read it here, so it's got to be fact. And somebody says, yeah, but I looked over here, and this says it's fact. So that's a really dangerous thing for us to live in where there's two factual
I think
worlds.
there's this world of confirmation bias, they call it.
Right,
like
right.
Because you can find pretty much whatever
Whatever
website you want to say,
Whatever you
the
want to
thing you're
say.
looking for it to say.
Right, I agree. So, like I said, so the
So,
positive,
like,
negative.
I go to the websites that, only tell everybody how much smarter I am than you.
Well,
but
see, but yeah, you go
'cause
somewhere.
there's the constant, all that Nick is dumb and nickisdumb.com. Nick's so dumb.
Right, and a lot of those websites have been deemed inaccurate already. So,
I mean, oddly, I keep finding more and more new ones pop up every day.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
so
like it's actually like according to Google Analytics, it's one of the most highly trending topics.
Nick is
Nick
dumb.
is so dumb.
Well, that's maybe a good thing, man. We should jump on that.
Yeah, maybe we should try and monetize this.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, just tell people it's great for your health. No, but I think, like I said, so categorizing that for me is maybe one way to stop it. I think this is really cool in a way that Facebook is able to. You can see a lot of information that maybe you would have missed, but I think also there's that kind of that slippery slope there. I think the other thing I wanted to talk about was, I mean, just like I said, this is kind of just a broad overview, but really just like the addictive factor of a lot of these pages and how, at least for me, it feels like the cell phone in general, but social media has become kind of a toxic thing in the sense that a lot of people, I mean, I honestly don't have a lot of friends that I go out with anywhere where they're not almost habitually checking the phone, scrolling it open, checking the Instagram, even though they just checked it 2 minutes ago, scrolling it open, just checking the Snapchat, and even they just checked it 2 minutes ago. And it's almost like people are so hooked on that dopamine loop of they open it up hoping to see something good, or so hoping to get a like or hoping to see a picture that makes them smile, that they just continue to go back at it over and over and over. And the way that these pages are set up is they almost encourage it.
Well, yeah,
by constantly being, oh, this is the new post, the new one. You don't forget the new one here, So that to me is a really scary thing, and that I think that it hasn't been touched on. People are not even really calling it an addiction yet. But I mean, I guess some people are. But for me, it's like
Well,
it's a very dangerous part of the world right now. You know, I mean, if you're looking at something every 3 to 4 minutes, you've changed the way your brain functions.
yeah. These sites, if you think about it,
Give me
they.
a second, I gotta check my phone.
Yeah, hold on. oh, look.
Well, I get a text message.
Yeah, I definitely don't have any likes, so
Okay, yeah.
I'm not worried about that.
We know that. Huh?
Yeah, I know.
No, just kidding. All right, ding.
All right, hit the button.
Just always looking for an excuse.
But like these sites are built around the fact of user engagement. The more eyes they have, the more eyes they can say saw an ad or whatever it is, the more money they generate. So their entire website is designed around getting you to constantly look at it. If Instagram literally said we update once a day at 3 p.m., there would be this huge push at 3 p.m. Everybody scroll through everything that's new, and then by 4:30 they'd put it down and wouldn't look at it again until 3 the next day.
That's a really interesting idea.
So that
We should start our own social media site that does that.
yeah.
I'm serious. That's a good idea because, I mean, if you had a social media where people would only check it once a day or once every 4 or 5 hours,
Wouldn't make much money, but I think it'd be great for society.
yeah, I mean, people could post and people would be excited because everybody would swarm on and see all the new stuff, and then you go back to your life. You wouldn't even have to worry about it. You couldn't reopen it because you already saw everything.
I'll tell you the name I think I just thought of off mic. Actually, I'll just write it down for you. See what you think about this.
As far as social media,
For the name of that website.
it's a social media site where you have to check it every 5 hours. It's called
No.
Don't Overdo It. Hey, there you go. I like it. I do
I
like
don't
it.
want to say it on the mic because somebody's going to steal that.
Thieves out there trying to steal our idea.
Yeah. My intellectual property.
Yeah. Yeah.
Intellectual being a
Very strong word.
casually thrown around term.
The brain.
Yeah.
So like I said, I think for me, the addiction thing for me is a real thing coming forward, and I think as people continue to get more and more accessibility on their phones with apps, and I think it's a dangerous world. I think the phone has become as important to most people, if not more than their wallet, and that's really
Well,
scary.
technically, especially if you live in a big city, you can live your life without a wallet.
For the most part, other than your ID, yeah. I mean,
And even depending on what you're doing,
yeah,
pretty much day to day,
for sure.
if you carry around an ID in the back, say like the little built-in
Yeah.
wallet thing, and you just have just a driver's license.
Yeah, you could have
Everything else
you
you
could
could probably
credit card on your everything can be pretty much taken
you
care
can
of.
pay with your phone. You
Yep.
can swipe, do whatever.
I'm not putting my credit card on my phone. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean it's that whole like tap with the
I
phone.
don't want to
and,
lose my phone and then somebody's just out there ringing it out.
well, I mean, I
can't
mean,
even
good
call
luck
it-
getting 3 Slurpees and candy bar, and then, and then getting busted for an overdraft.
Gotcha, you son of a bitch. No. Hey. So I mean.
Hey, Tony just let us know he's gonna be getting his fitness on outside in the real world.
Yeah.
Because
he's,
apparently that's the only place actual fitness occurs.
And
he
it's actually
says,
like
you
9
know,
o'clock at night.
if you go
so
to a
this guy's
gym-
savage.
It ain't for him.
Yeah, he's just gonna run through the rain right now like a savage. All right. Well, that's like I said. That's some of the main topics I think for us. Also, some of the good things that social media brings. That before we get too negative.
I do feel like we've been kind of shitting on social media here for a little bit,
Yeah.
and I think we should focus on some positives for a little bit.
Yeah, I think one of the positives are business pages and causes, so that people can, if they start their own startup, if they start their own coffee shop, if they, if they're trying to get money donated to the right cause, it gives you an option and a way to really reach people in a much faster way. And I think that we've actually seen that in our lifetime really help people. You know?
I think for me, social media is the best in the smallest areas. If you are a small business, if you are a small charity, if you are trying to bring something new to the table, that's when the social media is the best.
For sure. And then at a certain point, you can get too big and you can be annoying to have followed. But I think like you said, I think it's nice to have, like I said, every now and again I see something really cool where, it's a homeless person story, and they did this or that, and people are donating and changing his life around, or, it's, oh my goodness, this is my friend just started a bakery, or I mean, it's something like that's kind of cool,
Like I almost feel like Etsy is almost a social media.
Right. Yeah.
It's like a tiny, small little market,
Like a
for
sales
people.
world.
It's like a sales social media where you're able to like let people know about your like little side projects or whatever it is. And
Yeah. I think, like I said, and that's another good one. I think so. That's another good one. Like I said, I think the ability for grandparents and uncles and stuff to see like all the pictures and stuff. That's great for them, because I'm not going to be sending pictures, as often as I should. And I think most people are fit that bill. They're not going to send pictures to their grandma as often as they should. So at least everybody can be caught up and see your vacations, and you don't have to send everybody a picture. So I think there's some really nice
I don't have
positives.
to make slideshows anymore.
Right, exactly. Oh my God, slideshows! I forgot all about that.
Well, I'm going to sidetrack with a little personal story on what it's going to kind of be a bad but also a good turn for use of social media. Like I said, I was not on Facebook for quite a long period of time, and when I got on, a few people from high school contacted me, and friends on there and stuff like that, and I started. I'm also in my outside this podcast stadium that we're in, a teacher. So I've seen a lot of interactions with people and stuff like that, and it's made me think about the interactions I had as a child, and especially in high school and stuff like that. And there was one person in particular in high school, and honestly, I went to from kindergarten to high school with this person. And this person, she had a rough go. For whatever reason, she was deemed the odd person and the weirdo and made fun of by pretty much everybody as long as I can remember. And she was ostracized and just very alone. And in high school and stuff like that, we had a few classes together. And after becoming a teacher, I realized I was never actively mean to this person, but I also never, ever did anything to sit next to her, to talk to her, to interact with her, to just make her feel like a person. Mm-hmm. And it started to bother me. And once I got onto Facebook, I actively sought her out. She was kind enough to accept my friend request. I wasn't sure if she would. And then I contacted her through Facebook Messenger, and I apologized for that.
Yeah.
I actually, I told her, why I was apologizing, and she told me, that point in her life was not a good point. Yeah. And she didn't remember me being good or bad to her, which she thought was a good thing. And I felt even worse at that point that
you want to be somebody that stuck up for somebody, right?
Yeah. And so it's a thing. And then she appreciated the apology and stuff like that. And she's in a much better place in her life, and she's very happy. And I was really glad to hear those things. And that, when she went to college, she got a friend group that really was interested in the things she was interested in and all those things. And it really has filtered into my professional life as a teacher. Mm-hmm. Now, I see some of those students that the other students aren't necessarily interacting with, and I make an active gesture to try and myself interact with them or find someone that has similar interests. And I've been able to, in at least a few cases, find friends or similar interest people with that. And I thank Facebook for that, because it gave me a chance to go back in time in a little way and apologize to someone that I would never encounter again. Yeah. Once we left high school, our paths diverged. It's been 20 years. The chances of me actually getting to apologize to her without Facebook
were slim.
Slim to none.
Yeah, right.
So that was, for me, a big positive. So I can see, where it can be used in that way.
For sure. I mean, you can really... And even a lot of my family members have used it with, tracking down other Reganos, tracking down other, my last name is Regano, other family members that they went to high school with, or family members that they haven't seen in a long time, or people that moved to another coast and, maybe they broke apart from the family. So I think there is some real positives there, especially from that connection standpoint. Same thing, I have a friend that went to elementary school with and reached out to me not too long ago just to say hi and say that, he had got sick recently and stuff, so he was telling me all about that. But I think, for that, it's I would never had this person's phone number, so it was nice to be able to chit-chat with them and kind of catch up. But I think like I said, there are some real positives to it. It's just it is a very and like I said, I don't think that they have an easy job. I don't think that it's like a clear answer. I just think that it is hard right now to not see so many negatives, and the nice things about it kind of get trampled, because it's like I don't mean this in the wrong way, but the good things we could take or leave. Like I don't think any of them are good enough that they outweigh the bad, and that's my personal opinion.
That was going to be my question to you. Do you think the good outweighs the bad?
I don't think so. I think that the good is, oh yeah, you can connect with people, you can post some pictures, and you can yada yada. But I mean, that's great and all. But I think with the likes and the damage it does to people's self-image, and I think the harmfulness of the the misinformation. And I think the addiction aspect of kind of messing with people's dopamine cycles, I think there's just too much permanent negative there. And, so things that could affect people for a very long time rather than, hey, I got to see old friend get married and they're a baby and that's kind of cute for 10 seconds. I mean, that's just not enough weight for me to label it as a good thing right now. And so I think, are we be better off in this world without it? I think it's inevitable. I think technology is just too strong. Everything is too shared, too open.
Yeah, I think technology is just moving so fast that our brains aren't capable of keeping up with this volume. Like I don't think we were ever our brains were ever designed to be able to interact with everyone we've ever encountered in life at any time.
Right. I agree.
It's so much.
It's incredibly overwhelming. I mean, you look at you're being compared every single day to every person you went to high school with. It's like if you're middle of the road, you're not. There's a lot of people in your life that are better than you. If you're a doctor and you're doing great, then you look down and all the friends you had before are doing poor, and you're sad about that. If you're down at the very bottom and you're having a really tough time, then everybody above you is doing better than you. I don't see the positive in any way at all times, knowing where you fit money-wise and success-wise and happiness-wise, because you see these friends posting pictures in the Bahamas and they're in London and you're sitting at home grinding out 16-hour doubles and you're like, yeah, like that's not enjoyable for most people, and I don't think that's a good thing in any fashion. So but
I also have a big issue with just what is on social media. No one is putting their cubicle at work that they've been in for 12 hours straight.
That's why I miss
it's all these things that aren't really representations. And when all you ever see is everybody's top moments,
it makes you feel
it makes you feel less.
It makes you feel like that's what they do all the time, and you don't see the diaper changing, so to speak, and the maybe the tough days and all the hours and all the nights where they're really just sitting on the couch eating ice cream, not doing anything.
You just see the 2 weeks in Fiji that they spent. You didn't see the 3 years they've been saving money for this.
Right? No, you don't. And I think that. Like I said, in the old days when Facebook was first around, it was that. It was like, man, I'm saving some money right now, and it was kind of casual, and it was more real. And now, like I said, it is kind of just a bragging thing. And I think
it's a one-upmanship.
Instagram is kind of the same way for me, because when I first got on Instagram, the only reason I really got on was because people were like, it's just only about the pictures. It's just you take a picture, there's no jib-jab, no talking, and I liked that. So it was like, hey, people are just looking at my picture and seeing the quality of it, and it is a good picture. And that was around maybe for a little bit, and then Instagram quickly just changed into like a new form of Facebook where
it's owned by Facebook now. So.
Right, yeah, exactly. So it's essentially the same crap, and I think it kind of lost its identity there. It used to be a place where you could kind of show off the good pictures you took, even if it was with a cell phone, but a lot of times people uploaded pictures from their camera, but I like that. I like being able to jump on and say, oh my goodness, look at that beautiful picture they took, because what I liked about Instagram was most people were using it for one picture that they had taken from that event. You're like, oh, that's a cool synopsis, right? I like that. Now people are, they drop, you put 10 pictures in a row on the same post, just like Facebook, and that kind of ruins it for me. I like being able to scroll and say, hey, some girl named Sarah, she posted a picture of the forest bed. It's a really beautiful picture. I didn't feel jealous or envy. It's just like, it was a nice picture. It was cool to look at. I moved on. But now you look and there's 10 pictures. And it's her, and it's her boyfriend, and there's this, and it's like, it's fudge. I don't need all that. I just wanted to, So I miss just having a simple place where people posted pictures, and it wasn't so social. I actually liked that about Instagram. So
yeah, it's weird because I want less socialization. Out of social media.
I agree. I want it to be a little bit more. Like I said, I think I think Facebook has saying out loud the right things where they want it to be tighter circles, and I think that's right. I laughed the other day. Somebody posted a meme, and it was, or I don't even know if it was a meme, but it said, people don't realize this, but Facebook used to have publicly, you listed which friends you had and who was most important. And I remember this phase where on the side of your profile it listed 10
MySpace?
friends. No, this was
No,
Facebook.
I'm saying MySpace-esque.
Oh,
because
yeah.
MySpace had like your top 8.
Yes, correct. And so Facebook had that where it was on your right, and you actually had them like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you categorized which one of your friends was the best. And
Wow.
so they quickly got rid of that, but it was there for like a few months, 6 months or something, and they had to get rid of that. But yeah, even that idea is horrible, you know. But I mean, really,
I just love the idea.
Oh, Stacy's number 4, but Mark's number 5. That bitch.
I just love like the idea of actively switching it. Be like in the middle of a conversation with like a friend and be like, "That's it, you're number 5."
Oh, you don't.
You dropped. You just dropped from 2 to 5.
You don't think that's my sparkling shoes is a good idea? Guess what? You just got moved to number 7.
Yeah,
you know,
like
so.
or just dropping them off.
Yeah.
Like what happened?
So I think, like I said, I think for that I think that whole grading friends and grading relationships, all that stuff is really scary. But again, I think you're right. I think I missed a little bit of the close knit. And again,
I didn't even get
started,
into that whole relationship
I started Facebook
thing.
with like 100 friends, and it was like that's all it was. Now it's like I have 1,000 friends on there, and 900 of them I never speak with.
I'm bragging. I have 1,000 friends.
It might be 1,100. No, but I mean, I think that I think it's too much. Now I don't want to share. I don't want to share anything to 1,100 people, right? Like that's, you know,
Well, like
I mean?
it's the problem I think is with that many people, you forget who also follows you.
has
So
to
if
be-
you say something like just I don't want to say controversial, but like personal, like I don't like how come there's not tiers?
I'm
How
saying
come I don't have a tier, like a friend tier list? Because there's certain friends I could say anything to,
Yeah.
and they're not gonna like
Judge you.
Well, yeah, or
Yeah.
they'll judge me, but it's not like they're gonna know who I am personally. But there's
Yeah.
work colleagues, like people want to like didn't even get into that. Like
think
people
there's- I
like
think there's
getting
something of-
fired because they post something and their boss
Yeah.
sees it. And
I think there is stuff. I mean, I know this is on other sites. I know Snapchat you can do it, so I assume you could probably do it on Facebook. But there is some settings where you can say like, "Hey, don't post to these people or don't post to this crowd," and you can make certain boxes of people. But I also, like I said, in general, when I had 100 friends and I posted something, the people that I actually wanted to commented because they were the only people that saw it. So nowadays, when I post it to 1,100 people, and some lady my aunt knew from bingo. She's like, "Oh my God, you look so great in this picture." It's like I wasn't looking to talk to you. I don't give a damn what you think. And, you know,
yeah, I love when
Gertrude.
Facebook's creating like interactions that I'm trying to avoid in my life.
Right.
Like I have certain family members that I'm just not a big fan of.
Yeah.
Because once you engage, it's all right. We're gonna be at this for a while.
It
And
feels
now I don't need
generic
to.
too. I post a picture of me like in a water balloon fight, and people are like, "Be safe." And you're like, "Did you even look at the picture?" You know what I mean? It's like or I post a picture of me like at the Grand Canyon. You're like, "Have a good day." And you're like, "What the hell is this?" You know. So I don't know.
Yeah, great to see you. And
Right.
you're like,
Yeah, I don't. This is right. So for me, I miss that kind of personal level to it, where it was just kind of your close friends, and maybe maybe we'll get back to that one day. But I think while you continue to, and Facebook used to do this, it used to list right on your page how many friends you had. And I think until we get away from that, until we get away from how many friends do we have, how many likes do we have, how many pictures do I have posted, how many people follow me, I think until you get away from that, I think it can never be personal again. I think until people stop caring about how many, rather than and who.
Yeah.
And I think if you get back to who's my friends rather than how many, I think then that will become more personal again.
I for Instagram, I would love it if they got rid of how many followers people have.
I agree.
Because I'll like, look
Let's
at something.
find out who's really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, let's find out-
You
right,
have
yeah.
to be interesting
That's a good idea.
enough.
I like that's not that.
Ow.
I think the idea of finding out who people really enjoy because of their personality is a really good idea. No likes, just people, or all of it's hidden. You know.
Even the likes I could do with if like the followers throws me off. Like when I click on some people and I'm like, this person has 200,000 followers.
Right. I mean, sometimes I
Like,
click on
I'm
people,
like-
they have 5 million followers,
And I'm like, it makes me wonder, should I follow them?
I look at some people and I'm like, this person has, and then they become almost, again, there is no personal touch there. What am I supposed to comment for somebody that's 3 million followers and every picture has 1,100 comments? I am a person at the back of the crowd with my hand up, you know.
Yeah.
Hello.
I follow.
Remember me from high school?
Yeah,
Like,
I follow
you know?
a fairly large number of fitness people.
Yeah.
And I commented on rarely comment because
Right.
even less comments compared to likes.
Oof.
Yeah,
Count on one hand, huh?
pretty much. and I made a comment because a post from this particular fitness person was just struck me
Yeah.
enough to actually make a comment. So I
Yeah.
made a comment, and they responded. And this person has 700,000 followers.
Yeah.
And I was just like taken aback. Like it, and I actually had to take like a moment to think like,
Yeah, this person.
wow. Like, and
I
and then it was like, and then it kind of bothered me that I felt so like proud of myself.
right, like you
Like
had done
I
something.
did this,
Yeah.
like I got a response.
Right. And I think what you're saying also is that, like I said, you have put an importance on this person, but you don't even realize it because of the likes.
Yeah.
And you've put an importance on that. But I also think, I mean, somebody like that, that's their job at this point. And they know that if the more people comment, the more that they will bring people
Oh
back.
yeah. Now
So,
I actively pay more attention to that page
Yeah,
because I
right.
got that response.
for sure, and that's what they're after. So I think, like I said, I just would like to see a time where I didn't know how many followers they had. I didn't know how many likes they had. I just simply looked at their stuff and I judged based on that. I judged whether they were a good photographer, whether they were an interesting person. And guess what? If they're attractive and people want to follow people for that reason, that's fine at that point. I just don't want people following people because other people follow them. That I think is really dangerous. You know, oh well, a lot of other people think this
Oh
person.
yeah, like how many? Like we'll get into this at later dates, but you know, we're on the West Coast. We live in L.A. and there's a rather large entertainment population here. It's kind of big in the industry, and in talking with some people in the industry, they're actually now looking at actors and actresses' social media presence
Yeah.
before they're hiring them.
Right.
How many followers do they have?
I agree.
Like how many followers they have? Because it's like a built-in fan base, or it's a built-in marketing that they're using.
Right, and it's they also check them before they want to make sure there's not some PR buzz. You know, they didn't accidentally say something on there that would be deemed wildly inappropriate. You know, so
Well, that's a whole nother topic I'd love to get into. But
yeah,
like,
I think we
we got a couple minutes.
Yeah,
But all right, so past posts.
yeah,
As people, I feel like everyone should be growing constantly. You should not be the same person you were 10 years ago. So now, do I feel like you should be held accountable for things that you may have said 10 years ago? Yeah. Do I feel like if you said something 10 years ago, that means you think that same thing now necessarily? Also no. And I feel like there's a lot of people that they've gone through and they're digging up old tweets or old posts on these people, and they're somehow getting in trouble for these things they said when they were like 15 years old. And
I think that's so dangerous. I mean, I agree with you that people. I mean, I guess I don't. I guess I don't know if I agree with people getting in trouble at all for unless it. I mean, like I said, I guess it depends on the grading scale or some kind of gradual scale.
there's obviously things that you can just never say.
But like if you're in an argument with somebody, right? Like if I'm in an argument with like a friend or a girlfriend or an ex or anything like that, who hasn't said something wildly regrettable, right? Like that you would never want somebody to hear that you said to that person, right? It's like if everything that we said was there's a reason that like people forgive and forget because people say stuff like that and they move on. And it's funny because if me and you were in an argument, right? And I've been in arguments with my friends where we both said stuff that we wildly regret. But guess what? It's not written somewhere where I'm reminded every 5 seconds, so I'm able to move past it. Facebook and all these things, when you ingrain things in time, it gives them more importance. It makes it seem as if just because you said it at that moment, this sounds crazy that you actually feel that way all the time. And like I said, I've said really horrible things, not really horrible. I've said things to friends that you've been really upset at, and I don't feel even at that very moment. I don't actually believe that. I'm just saying it because I'm mad. Right?
Oh, if there were Facebook transcripts of the things I say in the car when I'm by myself
I'm
like
saying.
in traffic,
Right. That's what I'm saying. So it's like I think that's a really dangerous thing.
I'd probably have to go to jail.
I think if it's something really egregious across a line, then maybe. But if you go back and somebody had an inappropriate joke or something like that, it's like, okay, well, maybe you don't agree with that. But I don't think, you can hold them accountable. And I also, like I said, that's kind of where I think that the privacy is really important. I think that it should be at all times understood that whatever they say on there is their information. I don't know. But that's just me. The other thing I was going to touch on right with that was Snapchat and how
Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about Snapchat.
I know. I think it's a whole discussion
Yeah, I
by
think
itself.
so.
But I think the one thing I like about Snapchat, even though they kind of started on the wrong foot with, people just basically think it was a nude app. I'm sure people
I think
still use.
rightfully so.
People,
But
right. I mean, that's what first people thought. They heard, oh, I send a picture and it deletes itself, and everybody's dirty mind immediately went there. But people still use it for that plenty. But What they actually said, and I think it was just a PR move, but I actually ate and drank the Kool-Aid, so to speak. Not ate it, but I drank it. Yeah, that's brain fart. But no, I think what I drank the Kool-Aid about was they said, look, what we want is this chat that you're having to be a moment in time that disappears. Like I just said, so where if you have an argument with somebody, it disappears. But the same thing is if I make a goofy face, or if I send a funny picture, or if I stick my tongue out. But I don't want everybody holding on to that picture for the rest of damn time of me, like, with my finger in my belly button or something, doing something stupid. So they actually captured this quick moment in time where you laughed, but you didn't get to keep it. And I drank.
I never heard this actually, and honestly, it really makes me like Snapchat so much
That's
more.
what I'm saying. I know that's their PR move, but it actually makes sense in my head when they say it that way.
Well, how many times in real life are you interacting with people and they do something funny?
Right.
Just whatever it is.
Right.
Like you said, stick your finger in the belly button in the right context or whatever, and it's a joke and everybody laughs, and it's funny right then.
But I don't.
But I don't need that
of it
forever
and put it in cement so that everybody can look at it for the rest of
I
the
don't
time.
need it in my camera roll and
Right.
somebody else's and send
No.
it to their text and up on my Facebook.
I like that it's done and gone. I like that it was something, and I lived in that moment and I enjoyed that moment. So if it's something where I'm having a conversation with you over the phone or something, and I'm like, hey, I'm at Disneyland, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't be there, and you're like, here's us waiting in line, and you're like, I see it. Almost like I said,
I saw it, and that's what I needed.
I saw 4 seconds of it, and I felt like I'm there for a second, and it's gone. Do I need that picture for the rest of my life?
Am I gonna go back to it?
Never. But it's cool that you were almost involved in that moment. So
or are you just like, hey man, you wouldn't believe the size of this line,
right? Yeah.
and you show me this little quick video. I don't need to like
I
show
immediately
my
thought
kids
drugs for some reason.
10 years from now, 20 years from now, be like, hey, Nick stood in a line. You wouldn't believe it. Hold on.
Right.
Let me go back in
Right.
the.
Let me under the file cabinet under
Yeah.
the lines. Right. No, I don't.
The volume of photos I have in my phone.
Ridiculous.
So
So
they mean
that's
nothing.
that's why I think
Never gonna look at again.
Never. I have 10,000 photos that I'll never look at. But that's what I did enjoy the idea, at least, about they had gathered something. And I really hope that they started with that idea and it wasn't like a nude picture idea, because that actually is a really clever idea. And you can have a conversation with somebody that disappears like a normal conversation does. And I think, like I said, but I think for me, I think digging up old people's stuff is like digging up old arguments. I think it's really dangerous, and I think that, like you said, people could be in a very bad mind frame, and I think you should take everything that you see from somebody just with a grain of salt. just think that should be the rule. You know?
Yeah, I feel like you have every right to ask somebody about it.
Hey, why did you say this?
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I was hammered drunk, and I had no idea why I read that. I'm going to be honest with you.
I don't even remember that.
I was in a really bad space in my life. I just read an article. It made me feel a certain way. I don't feel that at all. And honestly, I didn't feel that way 5 minutes after posting it. Okay, there's an explanation,
Yeah.
So,
Or because there'll be things that get posted and then taken down by that person within a few minutes because maybe they realized it wasn't appropriate.
but somebody
or
screen
whatever.
grabs it,
Yeah,
and now it's permanent again.
Yeah.
It's
and
like
it's these things that you're like,
I didn't want it to be permanent. You know?
or I realized it wasn't appropriate.
It's
So, I made a mistake. How many times, I'm sure we're going to misspeak on this podcast,
Right.
or you say something and it comes out not like you intended.
for sure.
Just not how you intended.
Right, for sure.
Maybe the punctuation's wrong.
We hold everybody to the standard that every word or phrase that is either typed or comes out of their mouth was researched and thought about. And
Except for one person,
who's that?
Donald Trump.
Well, that's correct. But I'm saying my point is that we put this pressure on people that if you go back and look at something on Facebook, as if like we assume they put thought and time into it, when really we're dumb humans and we say stuff, we're like, I don't know why I said that. I'm an idiot. I say stuff all the time and I'm like, man, I can't believe I put that sentence together. That's not quite what I'm even thinking. So, I don't know. I think it's very, very dangerous to hold a sentence in time or a paragraph in time and label it as this person's feelings on things.
And it's written on a screen. There is no context. There is no intonation.
Yeah.
They say like 90%, 80 to 90% of all communication's nonverbal.
So how am I supposed to infer anything from that? Right.
So I've written these words. You don't know the tone I'm using.
Right.
You don't know if I'm trying to be sarcastic. How many jokes that are in movies,
Right.
if you wrote them out, are horrendous things to say to people.
Right. I mean, honestly, I think of even like you could say a sentence. I mean, a very basic sentence. You could say something like, I think racism is. Oh, that's not a good example. Let's say I said something like, Yeah, I thought that movie was. I thought that movie was pretty good. It was, or that's what you're right. I thought this movie was pretty good. Somebody comments like pretty good. I thought it was awesome. But maybe in real life, I said, man, I thought that movie was pretty good. That's a totally different sentence now,
Yeah.
right? So again, you can't infer what I mean by that. I could say pretty good, and you'd be like, yeah, Nick really liked it. Or I could say pretty good on Facebook, and you say, I
Or
don't
you
think
could
Nick liked
even go
it.
the other way. It's pretty good.
Right. So again, I think that there's really a loss. And like I said, if you're starting to get into like racial stuff, I think there's a different category there. But I just think that you can't judge somebody on an angry message. I think that's very dangerous. I think you can't message somebody on an emotional message. I think that's very dangerous. And I think you can't judge people, I should say, on a message that, like I said, seems done in haste or something. That's just my opinion. But yeah, like I said, a lot of topics there. I think that for the most part, as a culture, we're still learning. And I think that it's something that we think we understand how it works, but we think we understand how we should react to it. And we're still figuring that out for the most part.
I fully agree. Once again, I am the champion here. I have won all the arguments.
I just got a couple emails from some of the guests saying that they really agreed with a lot of my opinions and they thought they were well crafted. So I'll go ahead and take the dub on this one for the smart one on this broadcast. But I do appreciate Kevin.
I do have a question.
Dragging his ass.
do have a question. How come all those emails were written in crayon?
Well, a lot of our guests don't have access.
And you also have a crayon in your hand. So
to lead pencils.
I'm just curious.
Lead pencils are dangerous. I think people prefer
for you.
No, for anybody. And I think people prefer the crayon, knowing it's safer. We're talking about social media.
Why are they chewed on?
We have some younger audience,
But all the same crayon colors are the ones in front of you.
Once again, folks, I'm Nick Regano. But no, next time we will probably have another social media topic where we'll go a little bit more in depth and talk about specific ones and where they play a role in people's lives and how much of a role they should play at all. But next time we'll probably be here back. Maybe we'll do some sports and whatever people want to listen to.
Yeah, we'll check the emails, the actual emails,
Correct.
not the hand-drawn crayon versions Nick decided are actual emails.
Allegedly. Once again, we are two dumb idiots, so don't hold us accountable for anything we've said today. Nothing is fact-based. It's just two guys hashing it out. But we enjoy and appreciate anybody that's listening. Thanks so much.
Thanks.